Oh, stop with the blaming of the Al Haymon. Oh, blaming Al Haymon. Oh, it's Al Haymon's fault. We don't get the fight that we want to see, man. Stop. Listen to your narrative, pimp, and stop being a narrative hoe. Stop it. Yeah, look, I know this community. There's people in this community that want to pick sides and stuff like that. If they're a Bud Crawford fan, they want to blame the Earl Spence fan, so they're going to blame the rep and the handlers and the business handlers. Yo, it's Al Haymon. Yo, it's Al. Stop. Ladies and gentlemen, look, there's a lot of blames to go around. There's a lot of praise to go around. But blaming everything at Al Haymon while fights is not happening? Nah. Now, you could say, well, I don't like the pay-per-views and stuff like that. There's fights that shouldn't be on pay-per-view. I understand that. That's a legitimate excuse to hold somebody responsible and accountable and be frustrated. But because it's Al Haymon's fault that fights ain't happening, nah, that ain't the case. Ladies and gentlemen, let me give you a couple of examples. Jamal Charlo versus Haymon Munguia. Both sides signed off. Haymon Munguia signed off. Jamal Charlo signed off. They was ready to fight. And then what happened? The business of boxing. Golden Boy Promotions pulled out of a fight because they wanted to implement the zone. We all know that, right? Is it Jamal Charlo's fault? I know y'all be in Jamal Charlo's case. Oh, he hasn't fought for this much days. But he could have fought Haymon Munguia. Matter of fact, let's backtrack a little bit. Jamal Charlo actually could have fought Canelo Alvarez because let's not forget that PBC had a deal for Canelo Alvarez. It was Canelo Alvarez that chose the DAZN deal and fight Dimitri Bivol, a fight that we really never asked for. We really never asked the Triple G trilogy. Let's be real. Let's be honest. Let's be real. No matter, you might not like Jamal Charlo. You might not like David Benavidez and stuff like that. And I don't think that these guys, I don't think that Canelo Alvarez should be shamed to fight a lot of these guys. But let's not act like, whether you were a fan or not, that Jamal Charlo and Canelo Alvarez was not marinated longer than the Dimitri Bivol and Canelo Alvarez. We've been asking for a Jamal Charlo fight and versus Canelo Alvarez. We've been asking for the super middleweight undisputed to fight David Benavidez. That's the fight that we want to see. Probably the primary fight in the super middleweight division. Let's not act like we don't want to see that fight. That deal was on the table for Canelo Alvarez. Well, Al Haymon drew up that deal. Is it Al Haymon's fault? Nah. So it's not Al Haymon's fault for Haymon Munguia and Charlo and versus Charlo. It was not Haymon Munguia. It was not Al Haymon's fault that we didn't get Canelo Alvarez and Jamal Charlo or Canelo Alvarez versus David Benavidez. Canelo Alvarez chose the DAZN deal to fight Dimitri Bivol and to fight Triple G, the trilogy, which fight that we didn't want. Also, the primary fight that the fans want to see. Bud Crawford versus Earl the True Spence. It was Bud Crawford that actually agreed on all the terms. The Al Haymon contract, he agreed on it. And it was Bud Crawford who backdoored the deal, got himself out of the negotiation table, went to BLK to fight David Avanesian. Is that Al Haymon's fault? No, it's not Al Haymon's fault. So in all reality, Al Haymon is trying to bring us some fights. It's the other people that we have to also hold responsible and accountable. Now, could Al Haymon push for it? Could he do better than negotiations? I don't know. But I'm going to tell you like this. We all know that Al Haymon is trying to get these fights. Al Haymon trying to get these deals. Let's not forget that even Canelo Alvarez became an undisputed. It was Al Haymon that gave him the opportunity to become a super middleweight undisputed. Let's not forget that. Canelo Alvarez, the cash cow. Canelo Alvarez, King Nelo, a.k.a. Cartelo, a.k.a. Payday, a.k.a. Get the fuck out of here, man. Yes, it was Al Haymon that gave him the opportunity to become an undisputed super middleweight champion. Also talking about undisputed, let's not forget that probably one of the best fights of the year, the best performance of the year, Jamal Charlo versus Brian Castaño, the rematch to become undisputed. Is it Al Haymon's fault that we're not seeing the fight that we want to see? Let's not forget, his name is printed. His name is printed with the Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder, the trilogy. Probably one of the best heavyweight bouts in heavyweight history. Back and forth. Tyson Fury go down. Wilder goes down. Tyson Fury go down. He goes down again. Wilder go down. Boom. One of the most epic fights of this early century, we could say. Al Haymon's name is printed all over that fight. Let's not forget also 2023. These fights that have been announced. Keith Thurman versus Earl the True Spence. Participated by TGB. Promoters that work with Al Haymon to get the fight. At least it's a better fight than Bud Crawford versus David Avanesian. Who else? David Benavidez versus Caleb Plant. Good fight. Hey, even the young fight that we just saw a couple of weeks ago, Michel Rivera versus Frank Martin. A lot of people say that Al Haymon don't build young fighters. Mature Rivera was getting built by Al Haymon, and Frank Martin is now a guy that we talking about. Frank Martin versus Haney, Frank Martin versus Tang, Frank Martin versus Ryan, Frank Martin versus Shakur. Now it's another young crop. Let's also not forget that we're talking about. Yeah, I know is a mandatory. It may go to purse bid, but let's not forget that we about to see also Virgil Ortiz versus Stanionis. Now, like I said, there is a lot of people out there that is frustrated that the inactivity in the sport of boxing. They want to blame that shit on PBC. It's not only PBC. Yeah, they need to take responsibility and accountability for not keeping their fighters active, but it's also Top Rank. How many times Josh Taylor fought this year? How many times Virgil Ortiz fought this year? How many times Boots Ennis fought this year? How many times Anthony Joshua fought this year? Huh? There's a lot of fights that I could mention when a lot of these fights only fought, or a lot of these fighters only fought one time this year. A lot of these fighters. So I think that I think that's probably the main issue in the sport of boxing is the inactivity of fighters. Earl Spence only fought one time this year. So yeah, there's accountability for Al Haymon, accountability for Bob Arum, accountability for Golden Boy Promotions, accountability for Eddie Hearn. How many times did Conor Benn fought this year? So, ladies and gentlemen, man, there's a lot of praise and a lot of blame to go around. But all this narrative just blaming everything on Al Haymon, the guy that you never saw, never heard. We still got the same Google pictures of like almost 20 years ago. Yeah, at the end of the day, man, all I'm saying is, man, I'm keeping on bossy logically and objectively. I'd rather give the fighters the benefit of the doubt, the modern day warriors, modern day gladiators, the one that put their life on the line for pure entertainment, that give the managers, promoters, and business handlers the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna give it to the fighters. And they get blamed for fights that is not made, but it's their business handlers, just like I explained with Jamar Charlo and Haymon Munguia. Just like we're going to see why we might not see Teofimo Lopez versus Regis Prograis or Teofimo Lopez versus Jose Ramirez. Let's not forget that Top Rank got prime with Pro Bellum because they feel like MTK, Daniel Cunningham got something to do with Pro Bellum. Tio wants Regis. Regis wants Tio. But the business of boxing is not going to make that thing happen because the business handlers and their egos. So, all I'm saying is this, man. All I'm saying. Look, also, Shakur Stevenson. Look what Top Rank and Bob Arum said. He was in quest to become undisputed in the super featherweight. But they didn't want to spend the money. They said nobody going to spend the money for him to fight Cordina, for him to fight Gutierrez. Come on, man. So, look. Again, Al Haymon could hold himself accountable. We could hold Al Haymon accountable and responsible for certain things, but fights not happening. I could see the effort. Al Haymon is trying to make these fights happen. Now, again, the inactivity is we could blame it across the board. So stop listening to your narrative pimp. Stop being a narrative hoe, because there's these boxing content creators and these Twitter handlers that they want to go at each other. They want to create a narrative. They want to debunk a narrative. It's all about narrative pushing. You know what I'm saying? But let's be real. We all men. We all got intellect. Don't let these boxing content creators trying to insult your intelligence. All right? That should be a disrespectful to you. You should take that as disrespect. You know what I'm saying? I'm keeping on bossy logically and objectively again. Al Haymon, if you really see and understand what I'm saying, he's trying to make these fights happen. And when these fights ain't coming through, it's not Al Haymon. He's presenting them with a term they present, and these guys is actually okay. Even Canelo Alvarez really didn't have no problem with the PBC deal. It was the same money. He just chose to go the zone route. Golden Boy Promotions decided to pull the plug. But Crawford decided to go to BOK to get that easy money versus David Avenesi. He did a business deal, but let's not act like Al Haymon's deal was wrong, because he agreed on all terms. And there was a date to that fight, the primary fight. So let me know what y'all think, man. I think that a lot of these promoters try to give us the best. They try to give us something, right? Eddie Hearn worked with Jake Paul to give us Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor, right? Top Rank gave us Cambosa versus Devin Haney, right? And Shakur Stevenson versus Oscar Valdez. Gave us some good fights recently this year. PBC gave us the undisputed with Jamel Charlo versus Brian Castano. So, this it's moving. There's some fights that haven't happened. There's some fights that did happen. Shout out to the ladies, man. They did their thing. You know what I'm saying? I told y'all 2021 that they were going to take over 2022. Savannah Marshall versus Clarissa Shields. Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor. Cameron Jessica McCaskill versus Chantel Cameron. Great fight. So Natasha Jonas did her thing, man, becoming a world champion. So let me know what y'all think, man. Subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, man. This is real right here, man. We unbiasedly, logically, and objectively. All right? Love you. God bless, and on to the next.